Good afternoon. My name is Joe DeNoyer, and I'm honored to be on the panel today with Chad Larson and Barb Delaney to talk about I do and other things that to say after an M&A. As most of you may know, our firms were acquired last September, so we're a little over a year in. And as the session description mentions, there are several challenges beyond doing the deal. Today we're going to focus on communicating to all the stakeholders, your employees, your team, the industry, the press, and most importantly, your clients. And what we hope today is to give you a little bit of information based on what we've been through, not only right after we said I do, but how we've communicated that going forward. So with that, I'm going to start off, and I'm just going to kick it off, Barb, and kind of go to you and say, just take us quickly through the process involved around communicating the sale or communicating us being acquired by HUB.
Good, and it's a pleasure to be with you guys. I feel like I've been married to you for a very long time for both of you. So you are other I do's. I will. It was a pleasure to see Dave mentioned there. So thank you, Excel, for that great video. I think the first part of the communication process really had to start with our teams. They all sensed something was going on. The questions that my office manager was getting was becoming clearly evident that we were up to something, and to keep them satisfied and secure that their jobs are secure, that was our first step in the communication. Probably that was the most difficult because people's jobs, and particularly when they're your staff that's worked with you for years, is difficult. Surprisingly, we did our deal with HUB International, a firm that has employee benefits and risk management. And the easiest part was communicating to our clients. Our clients, as a matter of fact, when we said we're going to now offer full service employee benefits, risk management, they knew we were going into the HSA world much more and more. They said, that's great. That's how we started our cross-sell process. So the clients were the easiest part. The going to our friends, the asset managers and the record keepers, personally, I think we're all at different ages, but since are you retiring? I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not retiring. We're doing this for outsourcing and securing our back office. So the communications was different on all the levels, but it was surprisingly different for each one.
And Chad, share a little bit. Oh, sorry, Barb. Chad, share a little bit about the team, because I know during the process we were all in different phases with our teams and discussing it. And just share a little bit of how what you went through with your team when you were making this announcement to them.
Yeah, no, I think obviously there was a lot of decisions that went in way before ever, because there was uncertainty. We all started down this path saying, we could say no at any time. I mean, if it's not right, it's not right. Or if we didn't feel comfortable, we knew we all had very good practices and had great success. So it was, I think part of it is the why behind why we did it is looking, are there opportunities out there that we're not aware of and that we could actually grow bigger than we could ever do on our own? And also, the three of us have all talked about that, doing something that's bigger than us and doing something that is really more than maybe what I could do on my firm here in Colorado. So anyway, the communication for the team, it can be unsettling, and I think there were some questions about what does this mean, how is this going to impact us, and but fortunately we do have a phenomenal team, and the part of the why for me was, as an organization with 20 employees or so, yes, we've grown, but the career paths were pretty limited. And so now looking for opportunities for people that, they may want to be a service rep or they may want to be a producer, but, in our space, that was basically it. I mean, you kind of pick that or wealth management, which we have a great team that does wealth management, but it was somewhat limited. So now looking for opportunities and say, you could be involved in, and we have a lot of people on our team, as you do now, that are involved on a national discussion and helping formulate things that will have an impact on our client base much bigger than maybe what we would have done on their own. So the key is you find out real quickly who you really want on the team, and that's critical. Unfortunately, we have a great team.
Yeah, so I would echo what you both said. And I think although clients are super important, I can almost argue that communicating properly to your team is the most important step. What we all talked about, what we found is, you get your team on board, and it carries through to their confidence in their voice when talking to clients. So just to give you some practical, and I know folks that are thinking about doing this or are close to saying yes to being acquired now or merging with another practice, if you will. Just to give you a practical step, the first step we took here is we had a few team members that knew, and you will have a few team members that know about it. I mean, there's so much information gathering that a few folks will know. And we basically decided as soon as we were presented the LOI and decided the letter of intent, decided to move forward, we brought in, just from a practical standpoint, our COO, our financial team, and a few others to talk to them. And then we started out sharing with our big team and the entire team. And a couple practical points I would recommend, I guess, would be, one, really important that your entire team respects the company's NDA. I mean, that is super important. You don't want it leaked because that could blow up a deal or, frankly, cause more harm than it's good. So we had everybody in our office sign a new NDA. They all knew what we were talking about. And we presented, as Chad said, the why first. Why this is good for the firm, why it's good for our clients, and why it's good for each employee. I mean, that's really what we went through. And we tried to put ourselves in their shoes to figure out what would there be concerns. As Chad said, it was unsettling to some folks. So, if I have 25 people here, there has to be somebody there that was a little worried about it. Hey, do I still have a job? What is it going to look like? So we then really thought about all the questions from their standpoint, and we had an all-hands meeting in which we rolled it out. We covered, again, the why it's good for all parties involved, including, in our case, Hub, including our clients and including our team. And then we just addressed each point head on and had a question and answer session. And during that all-hands meeting, I feel that was super helpful when we get to the next message. And what we're really talking about today is getting it out to clients, because we had so many questions that it helped us actually craft the message to our clients. Because surprisingly, many employees said, well, what does this mean for our clients? And they would name them by name or what have you, or how is it going to impact our service model? And we were thinking, this is awesome that they're looking at it this way, because frankly, that gives us a great way to craft the message to our clients. So I think sharing it with your team and allowing them to give you feedback on what they're thinking, and then again, what they might be thinking or concerns about the clients, will help you craft the message. So, let's just go right into it. Let's talk about how you craft the message to the audience, being the clients. What was that process like? And tell us a little bit about it. So, Barb, I had you start last time, so Chad, I'll just let you jump right in and talk a little bit about crafting the message to the clients.
Well, I think part of that communication is key to the clients, as you mentioned, Joe. Is one of the things that I think paved the way for us is a lot of our clients have seen what's happened in the record keeper space, over the last many years. That this space, scale matters, and having that ability to continue to build and grow is critical. So they've seen it in that space. So that was an easy discussion to have, especially depending upon where they've been from a record keeper standpoint. They may have been through one or two acquisitions over the last 10 or 15 years.
Sure.
So to say this is an industry that continues to evolve, and collaboration and consolidation is happened both at the record keeper space as well as the advisory space. And part of the reasons for that are resources and the ability to continue to expand services. So having that conversation, and then I think Hub, communicating who the partner is, who are we being acquired by, and that varied across our clients. Some people had said, I've never heard of them. Who are they? And others, I had one client that's been a long-term client said, well, I'm assuming that's the same Hub that manages our PNC in Germany. Yes, they are international. So, I mean, it varied across the board. I think the key question that I received, and similar to what Barb just said, is, and it's not just me. I mean, it's all of our team, and I've got other owners as the organization. They all wanted to know, is everybody staying? And fortunately, because of our ownership group, everybody stayed. Everybody wanted to be here. They saw the benefits. And then the other question they asked, are you still going to be able to make decisions locally? That was a key question. And so for us, part of that fit was how local Hub is and how much they believe in local service and having that expertise. And so that was a very a good transition, a good discussion to have, is say, yes, we've got local presence, we've got local offices, and that's important to them. That's critical for us. And then lastly, some of them, not everybody, wants to know, like Barb said, are you going to be gone? Are you going to be gone? And again, I love what I do. I have no intention of leaving. And so I was able to look them in the eye and say, no, I'm not going anywhere. I want to continue to build and grow, and this is going to be a great opportunity for us to do that. So again, it varied by client. We did have some clients, we did lose one key client, but we knew that on the front end because they were a competitor of Hub's, and they knew we wouldn't be able to retain them because now we're carrying a card that competes with them. So we knew that. Some of the other clients have said, well, we've been through this before. We're not just going to take your word for it. We want to see if the service is going to change, if you're going to still, pay close attention to us like you have in the past. And so part of that is you have to earn that going forward.
Yeah. So what you're saying, Chad, I mean, if I look at it is, and I think most would agree is, one, when you're delivering the message, it's going to be a little unique to each client depending on your relationship. But, you're crafting a message through their eyes again, or what they're thinking, to make sure that, one, you're answering all the questions, and it could be objections. Again, I had a bunch of clients that sent, they were congratulating us left and right, as long as they knew we were going to be here. But Barb, you did something a little bit different. You talked to some pretty large clients ahead of time, not only for advice, but for helping craft the message. So you want to share that a little bit about, because it was different than what I've seen with other advisors. So what did you do there?
Yeah, so we enlisting your clients to be your advocate is really helpful. Every client is pretty much the same in one respect, is that they want to know, am I going to be taken care of? How are we going to be taken care of, and how are we going to be handled? So, in crafting the message, well, other clients, and reassure people that things aren't going to change with your team, that the same team members will be in place, and that you're really doing this to bring more efficiencies to your practice, and thereby allowing you to spend more time with them. That's kind of the key message. How do we spend more time with our clients? How do we listen better to our clients? And how do we take their ideas, for example, on integrating the health and wealth and really marrying those two together? And that was really our theme with Hub, that we really felt the health and wealth is a collaborational effort. And they were really critical in getting us that message out to our clients, that this is an advantage. Again, knowing they want to know, clients, are you going to take care of me? And is things going to change? Because they rely on us for service. As Chad made a point, record keepers have done a lot of mergers and acquisitions, and we've kind of felt the pain of that with lack of service and not total lack of service, but continuity in teams have changed in the record keeping. So they want to make sure that doesn't happen. 95% of my clients were fine. I would say 5%, had let me earn it again because they're relatively new. So let's see what you say. Now it's 14 months into it, or a little more, and we have, knock on wood, lost a client. As a matter of fact, we picked up a bunch of clients. So this has been a little different environment than every world. We've got 8 months of COVID sitting on us. I will tell you, the three of us work collaboratively still. We sold plans together, working on Zoom. So it's certainly not that we haven't disappeared, and it's becoming really evident during COVID, especially COVID, as having Hub as a partner behind us. We were able to organize really good webinars, like at will, so we're having a webinar from 2 days from now on COVID and what's going on, and having all those resources really made our clients feel like, yeah, they do know what they're doing here. We're not losing focus of what's important to them.
Yeah. So what I would take from that is, depending on where you're going. So if you are being acquired or partnering up with another firm, is, something that we did in the due diligence that helped us in communicating our message to clients is we spent a lot of time learning about the tools and resources that are actually going to benefit our clients without feeling like we're selling a new product, right? So really, hey, what are some of the services we could bring forward? And then we put our clients in segments and said, okay, based on, the acquirer, based on where we're joining, these tools and services may be unique and very special for these clients or help them out. So during the time when we were calling clients to announce it, we were also able to bring up one benefit. For example, whatever the case may be, we do a lot of the transportation business. So we were able to say, hey, we have a full risk management department that manages transportation, what they call transportation idling. But anyway, when we started doing that, people were like, oh, so you're going to be more of a resource rather than just selling and going playing golf. And it was really surprising of how that made a huge difference in the communication. But I would say that something that we did, and I know you guys did this as well, because we talked about it, is once we crafted the message with our team and they understood the message and they bought into it, at the same time they actually improved the message, we had many folks in our team call clients as well to go through this announcement, if you will. So our service team in the 401k side actually called the client service rep actually called the clients and discussed it. So they weren't hearing it only just from Joe or some leader at the organization saying we sold. They were saying, hey, we sold and we're really good with it. Like, this is a great thing for us. And that made our clients really take the walls down, but more importantly, they were actually excited. So what the feedback from the team is, one, they loved hearing it from them, that they're not going to change and that they're still here and we see more tools and resources. Two, and they heard the excitement in our team's voice about this, and we can address that in a whole other section of maybe how to make that happen. But I think by having everybody with a unified message really was important, not only for making our employees really comfortable and our teams really comfortable, but making the clients super comfortable. Because there is, nobody likes change. So when we went through it, I feel like the team was the stronger voice and actually we were all as leaders, and that really helped us, which leads me to another question for you guys when it comes to a unified message. Let's talk about, our industry friends. So the record keepers, and then we'll get back. We're going to wrap up and talk about clients before we finish. But the record keepers, the press, our industry friends, just in general. Tell us a little bit about that experience, because Barb, I think people know we got kind of land-based because the deal got leaked, quote unquote leaked. And I remember at one point Barb texting me, "I'm now on my 74th text and it's 9:30 a.m." So tell us a little bit about how we crafted the message and why it's important to craft the message to our partners in the industry.
Yeah, they need to know we're a unified front, that we're friends, and we're going to continue to work in a collaborative effort with them going forward. We were prepared to have it leaked, and that's probably something, because there were so many of us in the transaction. But I think we all would just speak at night, and it wasn't uncommon for us to say, okay, who's going to handle the press and how are we going to handle this? And we had the same messaging, that this is something that's going to benefit our clients. Consolidated reporting is something the three of us have talked about for 10 years, and it's finally happening. So the messaging was quite simple. We're doing this to get our reporting together. It's also going to make it easier for them to do business with us. Having many different advisors go to the record keepers and ask for different requirements for data reporting, it's a lot on them. If now we have one centralized reporting for many, many advisors, so we can put it as this is a benefit for them. We're gonna agree on what we're gonna ask you for, instead of, Joe, you're gonna ask them for this in this format, Chad, you're gonna ask for this in that format. So convincing them that we're doing this collaborative, make it easy for all of us, really hit home. So that was good again.
Yeah, Chad, have any feedback on it? Because I know, Barb mentioned, we talked about it. Hey, as we were talking about crafting a message and making sure we're a unified front in our example, we also were joking that this will be leaked. Like it's just too many people involved. So, tell us a little bit about your feeling of how we handled talking to not only the press, but really our industry peers, because I think it's really important.
No, and as we all know, we have a great deal of respect for all of our peers, not only those that have practices like ours, but also industry peers, and they've been partners and they've helped us along the way, to create success and to build and to grow. And so that piece has been critically important. And so I think from our standpoint, it was important to know that, those relationships will continue. Yes, we're going to have a different entity and I'll have a different business card and different email and things, but all of those past the past history doesn't change, in the mutual respect that we have. And I think there was, when it was leaked and they knew that there was multiple firms involved, and some of it is just based on our long-term history of trying to collaborate and do things together. Quite honestly, most of the comments, there may have been one or two, but almost all of the comments were so positive. Just think that you guys that'll be great. You're gonna continue to kill it. I mean, that's really, and so again, we appreciate that partnership. We appreciate them. And again, as Barb said, hopefully this makes their lives even simpler in some of the that we're coming and asking with.
Perfect. So I'll add a few things too, because we batted this around. I would say, again, from a practical takeaway, it's super important when you're sharing with your team and then they're helping you craft the message together, that you do have a unified message. Because just to give you an idea, we had industry partners like the record keepers and DCIOs calling team members and calling our service when it was leaked, quote unquote, leaked, like this is a big deal. I mean, there's many other things going on in the world. This shouldn't be that big of a deal. But they were calling and asking them what they thought about it. And I would, and frankly, the press was calling and asking our team rather than trying to get to me or somebody else here. And I think, as long as your team understands and has that message, what I would recommend is your team doesn't find out from the press. That's not a good idea. So basically, they were able to deliver the same message across the board that how excited we were for us and most importantly for our clients. So I think that was something that really made a big difference. So we have a couple minutes here, and I want to go back to the client side for a second, and I'll just pose a question to both of you, and then I'll make some comments about it. But really, between the three of us and everybody who's involved, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of clients. If we were to do it all over again, or for somebody in the audience is not there yet and maybe considering this, what would be the most important takeaway of one thing you would repeat and one thing you would avoid when talking to clients or communicating to clients about, you joining another firm or an acquisition? So, Chad, I'll start with you. So one thing you would repeat and one thing that you would avoid.
Well, first, let me just say, first of all, I thoroughly enjoyed the process, even though it was extremely time consuming and it took us away from the traditional things that we're involved in. But I enjoyed the process. It was eye-opening for me. It was great for me to go through it with some of my friends, and so that was very good. I think one of the things that I would repeat is looking at this as an opportunity for everybody on the team to benefit. That It isn't just the ownership group, that there are opportunities for everybody to benefit. And that's one of the great blessings of doing this. And that was something that was very important, to my entire ownership group. They wanted to make sure that everybody felt good and there were financial opportunities and rewards for everybody. Now, so that would be, I think that was one of the key things that was paramount for us. One of the things I would just tell people is that you can't go through this transaction and think that everything is going to be exactly the same as it was prior. I think we're very fortunate that a lot is, but there are some changes, and that's okay. I mean, that's part of the process and part of the why behind it, recognizing, say, yes, I'm going to have to learn some new things. I'm going to have to do things differently than maybe I've done them in the past. And that's okay. If, again, it helps us accomplish our bigger goal of doing something big and really, from a national standpoint, one of the things that we all wanted to do. So I think in those changes, you don't know everything up front. Again, nobody would. And that's okay. That's okay. I mean, it's not something that, and the ultimate question that I think everybody asks, and I've been asked this multiple times, is would you do it again? And again, we're only a year into it, but I have felt very comfortable, and I've told people over and over, I would do it again. I think it's been great. I think it's been great for our team. I think it creates opportunities. We've had a tremendous year. It's been a crazy year, but it's been a tremendous year. And some of that has just been the fruition of some of the things that we thought could happen as a result of this. So that, I think, key question.
So
thank you. Barb?
One of the things I would kind of echo, Chad, what I would repeat, and anyone who's considering doing some type of deal is going through your financials with such a fine-tooth comb. When Chad says that was detailed, it was grueling, but I'm telling you, it's very rewarding to do it because you really see where your profitability is, and you really know where you're spending every single dime. So that is a really good exercise, and it's probably good to do it, once a year as well. And actually being more corporate now, we are doing that. So that's good. What I would strongly recommend to anyone who's considered it, and when you're putting your deal together, and this is what I think both Chad and I experienced, wealth management and retirement plans need to be treated a little differently. I think we put them all together as one, and they're two different animals. I mean, at the end of the day, we all have one goal, is to service our clients and their participants with the same needs. But wealth management is retail business, and it has different nuances, if you will, versus retirement. So keeping those separate, but as one deal, is important because wealth management folks think much differently than we think. I'm finding.
Yeah. So that's a good point. As I wrap up, so you made some really good.
Sorry,
Barbara's a visitor.
I'm sorry. It's life. Sorry.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? So some really good points, and I'll just try to summarize them in the 2 minutes we have left. But I'm going to start with that last one. So if you're institutional and you also have a wealth management side, it applies to crafting the message to the client as well. We have that here in our shop, so we definitely crafted different messages. And I would say when delivering it to the wealth management side, the reaction was, "Good for you. Are you still around?" I mean, that was overwhelming the entire time. That was what that conversation was about. And then when we explained, I think you have to set expectations properly to the wealth management clients by talking about what's going to be the same for them and what may be different. Now, in our case, same custodian, same BD, same RA, so nothing changed for them. But if you're going to experience that change, you want to find out why that's an improvement for them and let them know up front about that change, so you don't just throw a curveball at them. For the institutional side, I think they get it a little bit more, and that was a really easy conversation because it was well thought out. So the recommendations I'm hearing from you guys, and what I took away from this process is, one, have your message well planned out for all stakeholders. Really think it. Share it with your team when you're comfortable sharing it with your team. Don't let them find out about this after the fact. Share with them because you'd be surprised, one, how creative they are at helping you craft the message. Number two, how much they really care about the clients. I mean, that was an overwhelming response of everybody. What is this going to mean for our clients? And they will help you communicate effectively to your clients. And I believe that that's as important, if not more important, when communicating to the clients. If your service team or the rest of your team is providing this message to your client, and then you call them after and it's the exact same message or vice versa, that is really, really important and very comforting for the clients. And then the third thing is, when it comes to our industry partners, I would say it's important to make sure that you're crafting a message of really why you're doing it. They'll get it. I mean, for the most part, they get it, but why that benefits them as well. Because at the end of the day, I think anybody who's taking time for this, session today, we all kind of have the same goal here. We're driven by helping folks save or become financially secure. And does this type of deal help you deliver that better to more people? I mean, we were convinced it would, and so far it has been. So as we wrap up, I want to thank Chad and Barb for sharing. Again, it's a half hour, so there's so many more topics we can cover. But just to sum up, think it out, think the message out, share it with your team, and make sure that you're a unified front, and everything will be okay. Thank you very much, Chad and Barb, for spending time today. I'm glad we were able to join each other today. And with that, thank you everybody for joining the session.
Thanks everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Appreciate it.